Hello, hello. Today I will be starting this. Usually we're used to the sounds of Michael. He offers that calmness. I offer this randomness of emotions, something we'll miss that what he has. And today will be one of those days where you'll have to put up with me. So with me is Michael.
Hello.
There he is. We missed that calmness. Today's movie is 2001 Space Odyssey. Uh, there's probably the proper name of the movie, but if you say 2001 Space Odyssey, we all know what we're referring to. It's one of a kind.
What do you mean?
Uh,
There's probably a better name for it.
there's like this exact word. Like, let me just look it up because like what does the director call it? 2001. Okay,
What do you mean with the director call it? It's called 2001 Space Odyssey. There's no
it's
way
called
around it.
it's called Space Odyssey. It's not called 2001 Space Odyssey. So I was just trying to say like, hey, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
name it properly, but it's 2001
Right, right.
A Space Odyssey. Okay, so what we do here is basically go over the movie, tell you these movies are on the IMDb 250. You can check out our previous uploads too. We've been going through all these movies and telling you what we feel about them and if you should watch them. And we are going on an alphabetical order, and we are gonna go over this one today and give our thoughts to you. Michael, you want to start this off with the movie and what it's about?
Sure. So this is about basically a space mission, obviously, to first the moon, and then they go make their way to Jupiter. Um, it's a story between man, how he came into the life, how he's going out into darkness after. Basically shows an adventure through space, and there's some conflict when they have a computer on the ship who gets into a conflict with them while on this mission.
And I love how you had a struggle to explain to you the movie. And it honestly, I'm just glad that we're not doing a movie review. We're just doing, hey, should you watch this movie or not? And this is the plot. So thank you for explaining the plot. Something I would have struggled with myself. Because yeah, like as Michael put it, there is not much to say around it. Because that is basically the plot, and it's not that deep when you think about it. But I think why this movie is now let's be real. Like, this movie is 2 hours and 44 minutes. Maybe 2 hours and 30 minutes. I guess
Two
if you're
hours and 2 hours and 29 minutes.
29 minutes, sure. And I 2 hours and 29 minutes. And man, I gotta be honest with you. If you've seen the other movie reviews, I will say that okay, this is a great movie. It's an IMDb. This is why it's great. Hey,
Oh
I did
God.
I did not like this movie.
Oh God. Here we go.
You know how much Michael pressed me to watch this movie, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I paused it. I'll come back to it later. Man, I just could not do it. This was a struggle. We can talk about that, but did you actually enjoy the movie?
I did. I enjoyed it.
You sat through it.
I did. This is going to be interesting to. We can actually have a debate now. You can bring your arguments of why you didn't like it. I'll give you mine of why I did like it. Um, but
Okay.
was this your first time watching this?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Um,
Wait, this
uh,
was your second time watching and you sat through it?
yes, it was
Oh
my
my
second
god.
time watching it. I sat through it, but I mean, I feel like this movie is a movie that you'd have to see in its time. This movie's from 1968, so it's like one of those that is good for its time now. It's still good, but probably not as good because of how revolutionary sci-fi movies are now. But this is still a classic because this movie paved the way to movies, all the good sci-fi movies afterwards. So that's why this movie is a good and will remain good. It was a really good story with really good special effects for its time.
Thank you for that argument. I'm going to say this, okay? Though I knew walking into this is a 1968 movie, and I knew that for that time, this was like a great achievement. Wow, you did that in 1968? But sitting here in 2021, I don't care. Look, they made some very, you know what it was, man? This movie was a sci-fi flex. It was just like the 2001 is looking bright, or like the future looks great because we'll be doing this. And and you know what? Now that I think about it, is there any evidence that suggests that the year is 2001, or is the title called 2001 to tell us that this is the year 2001? Is there any proof in the movie or scenes where there is like they mention the year?
They mention years, you know. No, I don't think they do. No,
Yeah, I don't recall if there's a scene or even if it's like we're sending out a transmission, the date is this. I don't even
no,
remember
I
that.
don't believe there is. No.
Okay, so I'm gonna say based on the title, I'm assuming that on in 1968, because this is like very close to the Cold War, which sorry, the Cold War was going on at that time. There was a lot of space, the space travel had happened, and they assumed that if we made so much progress within this time, imagine 2001, we'd be doing all of this. So I'm gonna say let's just say this is what they thought, but I guess it was cool and it was like they were showing off what they were able to come up, but I mean, it's a very slow movie and slow isn't bad, but over here it was just like, oh God, I can't take this anymore. It was because there's no dialogues either, which is I guess if you respect arts, you can appreciate it, but I honestly did not have the patience to really care.
Yeah, it's a movie where you do need a lot of patience. The first line of dialogue comes in at 25 minutes into the film. So it's more visual than dialogue based, um, comparing to 12 Angry Men, of course. But it had a lot of, it had some great scenes though with conflict of, the computer and the humans, where it was like tense for a little bit, which I enjoyed. But overall, I agree it is a slow movie. It's not for everybody, but you do need a lot of patience.
And patience is what I lack as being a modern man. uh, and like indulge in social media and being approval seeking. I was gonna say that it's a movie mostly for the imageries, like the small details and hints of things that you can pick up on. For instance, like uh, I'm so glad I'm not doing a review on this. I was just waiting for it to end the movie so I can just come and do this and just tell Michael that hey, I finished the movie. But I'm sure that if you are patient enough and appreciate the work of the director, which is considering for that time was amazingly done, you would probably just look at imageries and little hidden meanings behind different scenes and the spaceship and what they used over there and why they used this. These are a lot of answers that you can ask for yourself. Um, but other than that, yeah, it's not really a movie that where you have to. Uh, it's not your typical movie, for lack of better words.
What did you think about the ending?
Okay, that's we're talking about really important topics here now. I I think they purposely left it ambiguous. I tried to look up an idea of what just happened, but
So did
uh,
I.
and it's one of those things that I don't think there's a clear answer by anyone, or if there is, I honestly did not care. Uh, but I think that was the best way to end it, to leave it ambiguous because of the torture that they put me through by sitting through it all. So, but uh, it's
Listen,
definitely no one put a gun on my head.
no one put it. No, no. But no, I don't think it was as bad as you claim to be.
Okay.
So, but listen. The ending was open, left open, so you have more questions and answers. Now um,
You know what? I will say
that's
this though,
yeah.
and you're right though. I'm sorry to cut you off though. I will say this though. It's one of those scenes. The ending is one of those moments where I will ponder upon when I'm in the shower. Randomly, it'll come to me. And I'll think about it, or
See,
before I'm going
that's
to bed.
why it's so good, right? Because it leaves you thinking about it and wanting to know more, be asking questions, wanting to know reasons why they chose to do this, um, and having discussions with people about it. That's why it's really good.
And yeah, it's amazing. But you know what? I thought about this.
No, don't say it's amazing. You've already said it's not.
No, I'm saying it's amazing that you said that you would talk about this because I thought about it and I was gonna leave a warning that's look, I understand that the movie has a lot of deeper meanings behind certain things and the scenes have a lot of questions and I personally would ponder upon them too. But I was just gonna say I was thinking about it while watching it. You may be a person who saw these imageries and saw these little details and are able to talk about it, or those have an answer between why that ending was chosen. Just give me a warning so I can walk away from you, because I really don't. And I was just thinking the same thing. I'm like, dude, I don't want to talk about this movie after this. I just want to get this done and move away from it.
But I really like movies that offer you more questions than answers. I mean, if a movie was predictable, then you wouldn't really enjoy it, would you? This movie, you can't really predict what's going to happen next. You really don't know. It's kind of always keeping you, although it's slow, it is keeping you engaged and wanting to find what's going to happen next because it's not a revealing movie. They don't really write it for you to see it and to know what's happening next. The fact that it ended the way it did just goes to show that they they weren't scared to take risks, you know.
Yeah, I will respect them for that. And but I stand by my words, and I want to
And it's
remain here.
totally fair. It's totally fair argument. And I see where you're coming from, and that's totally reasonable. I understand that for sure.
And with the lack of dialogues and everything in the movie, I'm gonna say one thing though. I really like the opening scene though. If they had kept the opening scene, dude, it was so good. I could not. I just I can't. I don't know. It was just like I
Well,
knew that scene existed. Sorry, you were gonna say something?
in regards to the opening scene, did you know that those monkeys are not actual, or
Of
sorry,
course,
gorillas? Those are men in those suits.
of course I did. That's why it was so much more fun. Uh, and like
Yeah, that definitely made the movie better.
honestly, that those scenes are so good. Honestly, as soon as it switched to like the real like it was leading us towards the real meat of the movie, right? And in my head, I was just thinking, can we please go back? I really don't care. I don't care where you're going or what you want to do with this, but let's just go back there. Like I wouldn't have mind the whole movie being no sound or just like no conversation, just them, bro. That would have been a great movie for me. But that just shows you how dumb I am and how little things make me happy and not thinking. But eh, did
You
you
know, there's
sorry?
a quote from Arthur C. Clarke, which is one of the screenwriters. This
Okay.
movie was written by Stanley Kubrick and Arthur C. Clarke. And he says, if you understand 2001 completely, we failed. We wanted to raise far more questions than we answered. So that's what the writer said.
Um, thank you, sir. But can I have my money back now? No, not joking. But I'm looking at the scores on Rotten Tomatoes, 92%. It's definitely one of those movies where you're going to see a lot of pseudo intellectuals come in and tell you that they watch it, so you can think that they're smart. Oh,
It's
they
completely fine for you not to enjoy this movie, Kaiser, but I will say this 100%, with 100% certainty. If it's 1968 and you go watch this movie in theaters, 100% you will enjoy that movie. You will not understand the movie. You will leave the movie saying, "What the heck happened?" But you will enjoy it. And you'd want to rewatch it, and you'd want to understand, and you'd want your questions answered. You'd want to discuss. You'd want to do all these things. I'm 100% sure that's certain.
that may
So
be,
it's a time period movie.
and I agree with you 100%. If I was to see that, some of the things done and some of the predictions made, I guess, were very like very far fetched. And I think one of the things which didn't impress us with um with their view on what could human develop in the future is because we're from a generation where we've seen the fastest evolution of technology. So nothing really impresses us as much because we're just like, okay, it's possible because we've seen such fast development of technology in our lifetime that we're like, okay, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. But why I am being such a hater uh, and saying, guys, if you can avoid this movie, it's fine. You're not missing out on much. Sorry, Michael. It's because we're in 2021 and we're just programmed to really like we can be patient, but not this patient. Like this is like next level patience.
Okay, okay. Well, let's move on to. I want to move on to this topic
Yes.
because this was my favorite part of the movie.
Okay.
The characters in this movie. There is a character which is a computer, and his name is Hal. Let me tell you, that character is so good, so layered, that is one of the reasons why I really enjoyed this movie. Because you have a character here who, upon coming into the film, you realize that this computer is one of a kind. It is incapable of making mistakes. It has said that since its existence, it has never made one mistake. So you already know that you can trust this. And then you find out that this computer that you can trust could also do some terrible things while maintaining its honesty. So, not to spoil it, but just that Hal character, that computer character, I loved. I loved that character, and I thought that it really made the movie for me.
It was a very good introduction and the direction of the movie. Definitely. Um, you know, now that you
Because,
brought it up,
sorry,
sorry.
just to add on, I don't mean to cut you, but just to add on one more thing, you have a character who's saying he's incapable of making mistakes and all this stuff, but at the same time, he is completely capable of sabotaging too. So it's very extreme and diverse, and that's what I like. I like to see like all these layers, and I saw that with that character.
It was no, and I was gonna say that now that you brought up this character, I will definitely. It does definitely raise a question in my mind, and I'm afraid that it will ruin a plot. So, by the way, this comes in near the after the intermission or near or within the intermission period,
Mm-hmm.
and this is yes. So to keep an eye out for that. I think if you're gonna sit through it all, this it does definitely take this movie to a different direction, and it does really talk about one of the major themes in the movie, which is human development, right? Something that you brought up beginning of this podcast. So yeah, that is definitely one of the leading. Uh, I'm gonna say like a. It's almost like just having like what's the word when you a trampoline to kind of like jump towards the next like the overall theme. It's almost like uh the theme of the movie is just like explained better with this character of the jump towards evolution that humans are taking. Adding that in there just showed you the jump they had already taken. I
Hmm.
hope I'm not trying to be so uh, confusing in my philosophy. Sorry, in my
It's
in
really
that
hard to
is
go into without ruining it, but
yeah. I'm struggling to find words for it though, but it's something
I
that you
really
can.
enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that character, and just like how the voice of it is like an iconic voice. Like I don't think that a movie like that had been made until then, right? So it kind of paved the way to and gave lots of ideas for future films of how to create movies. I know Interstellar, which is a recent sci-fi movie that was a hit movie. It took so many inspirations from this film that you probably don't even know. It 100% took sorry took all these inspirations from this film that you wouldn't realize. You would underestimate how much actually was inspired the Interstellar film from this one.
And you know what? I actually respect that you said that because before I even watched the movie, I knew about the movie because you see a lot of the scenes and you see what other movies are paying homage to, or what other TV shows are paying homage to. It's like there. If you watch the movie, it's more like the one of the some of the best movies and TV shows you've ever seen may have taken something from this movie, and that's how uh, iconic this movie is.
Yeah.
But I think the our where we diverge in our agreement of the movie and should you watch it, should you not watch it, and when to watch it. I guess I 2020 man, I do not have the patience for this or the care. Uh, Michael is far more appreciative of talent and hard work and taking
but
the
it's
risks.
but it's good
Sorry.
that you came with this side because then we can have a debate, and there's people that probably agree with you and disagree with you, and then agree with me and disagree with me. So I think it's good that we have this discussion and see what people think. Like it's good to have an open discussion, right? That's what they wanted. At the end of the
Um,
day, that was their goal.
we uh we can so to conclude our thing and we're gonna have our final thoughts on what do you think the meaning of the movie is. Uh, as like should we do that because there's not much. I think it's better if it's left open ended, right? The meaning of the movie.
I think so. Yes.
I think so too. So to conclude, why you shouldn't watch it, based on my opinion, is I do not have the patience for it, as most of us don't. It's a 2 hour 2 hours and 29 minute movie, very slow, very dry, very little dialogues, and very few moments of like actual action, except the first first 20 minutes. That's the best scene of the movie, to be honest. And why you should watch it, Michael. Correct me if I don't add anything. It's the respect for the work done, for the time it was done, the how iconic this movie is, and how much impact and influence it's had on other movies to this day, and it can still hold itself as a like. I'm not going to deny the fact that it's not a good movie. I am gonna say that I will not watch it again, and I was very bored in that movie. So it's not a bad movie. It's just not for me, to be honest. And if you wanna, if you're having insomnia and you haven't been able to sleep in a while, this would be a great movie to be watching. Do you want to end this
That's
over?
right.
Do
That's right.
you want to end this chat over here with this?
Yes, sir.
All right, I think that is all for today. We'll be back with our next movie. We'll tell you when we post that movie.
It'll
Th-
be on Sunday, boy.
Thanks again, everyone,
See
and
ya.
goodbye.